doing? Happy 2024, and I really hope that you guys have your goals all lined up and everything ready to get rocking for this year in 2024. I am, as always, super excited to be with you guys and connect and really just, kind of help you grow your business and really double down on this effort of bringing unique selling solutions to your clients at a bigger, broader, larger scale. Today we are going to be focusing on growing your audience, building that email list, and building your influence in the marketplace. Do me a favor, tell me where you are coming at me from. And then also, tis the season for us to be sharing some goals and kind of speaking it into existence. So tell me, what are some transactional goals? How many listings do you want to take? And if those of you that have really kind of brainstormed on it, what is your transaction goal? How many listing appointments do you want to go on? And how many listings do you want to take this year in 2024? Because I am going to be sharing with you a way to grow your audience, to grow your influence in the marketplace, and ultimately all built around your value proposition of bringing unique selling propositions to the marketplace, leading with that lead magnet, taking a not met stranger database, turning them into a met, known database, people that know you, like you, trust you, and then ultimately when they think of you, they think of real estate, or when they think of real estate, they think of you, right? Those are a lot of the cliche sayings around a lot of that stuff. However, I want to make sure that we all know where we are at in that particular place and where we're coming from. Okay, so with that said, what I want to really be looking at today is really a good statement of your income. Your gross commission income will grow to the extent that your audience does. Now, I love that saying because if you're anything like me, this is very near and dear to my heart because I've been in the business since 2006, so I've been in there for a hot minute. And I was a Mike Ferry trained agent originally, and a lot of that was very much so finding people that were looking to buy, sell, or invest in the next 7 days, right? I had a coach that I worked with for several years. We worked canceled, expireds, FSBOs, several, even notice a default or foreclosures, list pendants for you in different parts of the country is where that was like that immediate business. And that was really what I built so many of my processes, sales systems on. And the reality of it is I got very good at that, and it was just new. And I know I've shared this story a time or two, so some of you have maybe heard this. But then 5 years goes on, did a lot of transactions, but I look back and I wasn't getting the repeat or the referral that I should have been. And I would get a lot of referrals when I was in transaction with people. I would, especially after a listing appointment, especially for some of the niche things that I was doing, I would get a referral around that same niche offering, or there was some type of parallel that referral came in, but only in that microcosm of time. And what I discovered is after I had started to go down the road is that I really just was almost churning and burning my own clients and my own prospects, where it was just I was being a service provider and I wasn't really creating those raving fans, that audience the way that I would, even though that they were happy with the service, things of that nature. It was all around that particular niche offering, or, they were thinking of me only when I was in transaction with them. And so the long and the short of what I'm really wanting to communicate with you guys here is, number one, don't make that mistake. And number two, I'm going to give you the treatments on how we're going to fix that, right? And so that's what today's goal is to identify likely sellers through building a good, big audience. The more robust of the scale out of the messaging that you can bring to the marketplace in a consistent, keyword there, consistent fashion is really going to help you grow your business in 2024. Whether that's growing it by 5 transactions or 50 transactions, right? So whether it's something big or small, right? You're able to do that. So what I want to do real quick is we're going to get into some nuts and bolts frameworks on some things today. So what I want to do here is I want us to look at some frameworks, and there's a lot of things that we're doubling down on here at Zoodealio that I want to share with you guys. It's just going to make this entire process so much easier for you. And now I don't want to be that spoiler alert for what I was talking about before, but that's exactly what I went through. is I had done a lot of transactions with people now, and then I had found out that, 5 years, 6 years down the road in my career, they bought or sold another house, and I wasn't their agent that they used. And the reality of it is not because they were displeased with the service that me or my team was bringing them. It's just that we were not in front of them. We were not top of mind. We did not communicate with them after the transaction, much after congratulations, closing gifts, etc. We didn't have that email marketing campaign. We didn't have a proper lead magnet. We didn't have proper geofencing that kind of goes in place that we're going to be talking about some today. We didn't have long-term, really like a value magnet, right? Lead magnet, value magnet that I would keep in front of them, such as monitoring their home value, such as giving them insights about their neighborhood, such as sharing new propositions in the marketplace that they can only get through you, right? So these are the types of things that Zoodealio helps you solve in that marketplace. So if you guys tap into Blast, and again, as we start building out the other pieces of these lead generation processes, we are going to help you really kind of solve this puzzle. And even if you have some of these puzzle pieces solved in your business, they are done through a very clear, awesome automated marketing way, so that it will help you focus on what you do best, and that is go out and meet people, listing appointments, close deals, etc. Let's kind of dive in what this looks like today, and what I want to show you guys, ultimately how to get these strangers to want to work with you. So what I'm talking about right now is we're going to be talking about really a couple of two things, okay? And so again, this first one here is you'll look at this cold outreach. I want you guys to walk with me for just a quick second. You got a list of, let's go with divorces, because this is one that's a very easy list to get your hands on. It's obviously publicly filed. 50% of the people that go into divorce that own a house end up selling their house. It's actually more like almost close to 60. So this is a really, really quality lead list, right? Now, some people will say, hey, I don't want to mess with divorces, too much drama, etc. Those are decisions ultimately that you'll have to make, and I'm not going to get into like particular lead sources. I'm just going to use this one as an example for you today. Let's say that you get this particular list. You obviously don't have their email address. You don't have their telephone number. The only thing that you can do at this point is, of course, you can reverse look them up, skip trace them. But one way to do this would be to send them a cash offer postcard, right? So you'll be able to give them the insights or a potential cash offer in their existing house. I guess a Zoodealio member that we've been working with for a bit in California, he has a postcard that he sends out, getting divorced sucks, get a cash offer. And I think he has, I forget what his little mantra is underneath it, right? Like, take the hassle out of the sale, save the hassle for the courtroom, stuff like that. He has some funny things going on that I know that have been performing fairly well for him. But essentially, what the framework is here is now as soon as the home that's in there, through Zoodealio, you can actually put that address inside of your account, right? You enter it in for them. You can do it through Zapier, manually enter it in. And then once you get that URL, you can now take that URL and we can turn that into a QR code. The moment that they scan that is the moment that they come into that, their dashboard, right? And you're instantly notified. So the game changer piece on a lot of this is going to be 0 opt-in, and it'll pull them in right away, right? Now, the other thing on this is when we do this, we want to be able to pull them right into that Blast dashboard, which I'm going to be talking about here in just a second. Now, on this, again, I'm not going to dive into this too much today, but it is important to have those pixels in place on your landing page. So if you've built a custom landing page within Zoodealio, or you have your widget on your own custom landing page, or you have it going to your Zoodealio page or your Blast page that is now live. These are different places that you want to make sure that you have that there. That way, if you're running ads and those types of things, it picks them up, and then your ads get repurposed to them. So giving you a framework on that is once they particular scan, they would come into that Blast dashboard, and you're instantly notified. So you have an opportunity in this type of lead list to be able to pull them right in and get notified instantaneously. Now, let's talk about a second option, right? So let's say that you have a particular farm that is a higher turnover rate, okay? So Typical turnover rates are about 5 to 6% across America, right? So that means every 1,000 people that you have inside your particular database, right, should usually yield anywhere from 5 to 8, 10 leads per particular month per the particular area, right? So if you can get a farm of 1,000 homes as an example, right? When you look at a 12-month window, it should yield anywhere from 5 to 10 leads per month per that particular time frame, right? If you're looking at the typical turnover rates. So the reason why that's so important is when you're looking at your business from a mathematical standpoint, right? The path is math kind of thing. This is where we want to look at, hey, how big do I need my audience to be so it yields the amount of transactions that I want to get to? This is where I think that this kind of piece can come in really well with particular blast. And again, I know that I had a couple people ask about this, and maybe in the next session I can kind of dive in how we do this specifically on this. But when you look at Geofence that you want to run because it met as fair housing and all the things that have been in place, this is something that we have found for it to be much more simple, where you can drop a pin inside the area. If somebody comes inside that particular area, per the spin that you have in that, your ad can potentially be served up to them, right? And that's the beauty of it. So then from there, what you want to be doing is running them to the blast page. And those of you that are not familiar, that screen image with the phone on it and that kind of the real value, it is a dial that allows them to opt in to monitor their house so they can see their home value instantly. I want to be clear, this is a lower barrier of entry for most prospects, right? And the goal of this is, like I was talking about before, to have this be massive top of funnel. Whether they're wanting to transact tomorrow or in 10 years from now, you want to be at the center of that transaction, earning that deal. And this is a play for them to do that. It's that life cycle marketing to that prospect. So you're not making those mistakes that I was talking about before, where you're doing a bunch of business and then 5 years down the road, you're realizing that your clients went somewhere else, right? You want to give them that value magnet so they constantly are staying in your particular community, your ecosystem of value within real estate that you've created for your clients, okay? And then from there, part of what we do is after they've opted in, it pulls them through and it will, show them a picture of their house, let them know that monthly trends have changed, right? And then of course it pulls back in, and it's going to give them a real-time offer, a real-time value on their house. Now, the other beauty of it is within Blast, it's going to have that particular success story of that month that they can kind of see it, that's educating them. These are real stories on, cash plus, the sell now, move later, right? Different options that you are able to bring to them so that ultimately it's planting a seed, and then it waters it month after month with a quick 2-minute, success story, right? That are real from people. The other thing that it does that's great is it's going to qualify their house, what options are available for their home instantaneously. And then, of course, at the bottom, it's going to be all branded and centered around you, their trusted local expert. Once now they are in here, right, the whole point of this is within the system and cool tech is that it's going to follow up with them every single month, right? And then now what we have built on our end, as soon as they, come into it, of course, you're notified. Right? So earlier about that postcard I was talking about before, the moment that they scan, you'll be notified that they've entered their Blast dashboard. And then now once they've checked it multiple times per month, you would be notified, right? These are all cool things that you'll be notified inside of the notification center inside of Zoodealio. Okay, so let me backtrack here on this because I went pretty quick on this particular one here. So before we get back to the partial leads, I think a lot of you know that's something that we have created a few months ago, that we now are capturing partial leads. So I'll show you in just a second how that particular piece works, but it's essentially as soon as they enter in their address, it reports it back to you, and a lot of times if they bounce out, right? So being very clear, a lot of stats on that show that, depending on the type of marketing that you're doing, those numbers could be as much as, 10% pull-through rate, a 15% pull-through rate, right? So that means let's just take this very simple. You're pulling 20 people to your website, right? Only 2 of those people register, and the other, or 100 people you drive to your site, 20 people enter in their address, right, because they want to see enter their value, and then it comes to the registration page and they particular bounce, because those are lower intent style of leads. But that's where, again, I love the blast page, because it's going to allow me to create the largest amount of ups / opportunities / leads, right, as I tend to look through it. And if you're like me, you play that long game and you'll win big. It doesn't mean that we're not trying to focus and convert, our now business, but if we can grow that audience to a massive scale, then continue to provide them value, when it comes time for them to transact, they'll usually raise their hand, because you are their information resource. And if you have cool tech in place like Zoodealio, you'll be able to monitor a lot of those behaviors, capture those behavior metrics, they're reported back to you, so you know when to reach out to them based on their behaviors. So really cool stuff. Okay, let me get back there. Okay, so in this whole strategy of working smarter, right, you're able to have, like, this is an example from my guy Will here in Florida, who's doing, he does a lot of, ad traffic, stuff like that to his particular site. And this is what you'll see. You'll have people that will start to register, and then they won't finish, they'll bounce out. But you're now capturing those leads. So these partial leads, when they come in, right, they'll start the registration process, and let's say that they enter in their address, and then they bounce out. Okay, so now you'll be able to go back inside your lead dashboard. If you click on clients, you'll see partial leads, right? And then you'll see all your leads right there. If you click on the 3 dots, you'll be able to get a little bit more information about that particular property. Potentially one day you'll be able to reverse look these particular leads up inside your Zoodealio account. But those of you that want to do that now, there's plenty of resources out there to be able to reverse lookup or skip traces. It's known in the real estate industry for those particular leads. And then my heavy suggestion would be to enter them into blast, even though you're going to have to send them the opt-in in that circumstance. And then of course, those of you that are going to want to participate, this is where that postcard game that I was talking about before is going to want to be a part of that. Let's talk for a second more on this whole audience piece, right? Because I think that so many times people, or agents and team owners that I work with, they get super focused on just marketing, or they'll get super focused on just prospecting, or super focused on just advertising, right? So, and for those of you on here, know that I see those things through 3 different components, right? Marketing is a standalone, which is people that you have their contact information. These are people that know you, or maybe don't even know you, but you have their valid contact information. Always a great place to start, whether that list is 100 or 10,000, right? Great place to start. Then of course, prospecting is where you are taking the conversation to them, right? We're talking, direct message type stuff. So we're talking about calling them, text messaging, door knock, strategies like that. And then the last one, of course, is going to be advertising, where you are spending money to get your message in front of a bigger audience, right? So even though marketing can cost money from a print standpoint, a mail standpoint, it's usually lower cost from a click standpoint or a drive back standpoint. Where ad spend, right, we can get our message out to a very, very broad audience, and then we're capturing those clicks, all of those types of things, right? So at the end of the day, I want to be very clear that driving traffic is really all 3 of those components. Case in point, those of you that are on here, maybe even have been through this particular funnel from the Zoodealio side, where you had Veronica or Mary or James or somebody reach out to you. You're like, what was this call about? And you heard Zoodealio.com. You go Google Zoodealio, then you come to Zoodealio from a phone call, right? So, or a text message or an email, or you saw one of our ads and that pulled you back to that particular site, right? So that's that entire top of funnel. As you see, it pulled you to the landing page, and then the landing page, Zoodealio.com, picked you up, educated you, right? That's that same cycle that I'm trying to that I want you guys to see on how we're going to be able to build this for your particular business. What I want to talk about for a second here is it's a new framework that I've been, really kind of working to evolve. Part of what this is very much so around the blast landing page. So what you're going to want to do, those of you that have dealt with this, if you haven't done this and something you want to dive into, feel free to email me directly, which is Elliot@Zoodealio.com, ELIOT@Zoodealio.com. Those of you that are in this, what this essentially is again that framework that I was talking about, where we want to run a geofence, which I believe is I forget what their set mile radius is now that they allow. I think it's 30 miles. Is the smallest radius that they allow. 10 miles, excuse me. You want to run around your house or your particular your office. Now, this of course is going to depend on how big the audience can be. So if you can look inside that area, it will show you how many people that the ad can potentially reach. So that's where you need to look at like your daily budget and getting these types of things going. But see, this is where I want us to be looking at doing things on a consistent basis, and maybe run this as a beta around your office and around your house. If they overlap a little bit, that's okay, right? But what the goal of this is knowing your service area and kind of being that your digital mayor, right? So this is where, when we are going to be doing having the blast page, up in the background, right? As an example, right? Where you're doing kind of like a green screen type thing, and it's a blast page. And you're like, hey, are you curious what your home's value is? It's 2024 and so much has changed in the marketplace. Why don't you go ahead and enter this now, tap into and find out what your home's value is, free of cost, and make sure you get a monthly report so you always stay in the know on your home, right? So this is like a very simple video ad or even post that you can create inside of Facebook. Meta, right? Then you're hitting Facebook and Insta. That way you're able to start growing these things. But there again, those of you that track with me, when you do that on like a geofence, for an example, right? You can have that, and then now you're running a daily ad budget to that radius. What I love about this particular strategy is people that come in that particular radius, Meta will serve that to them if they are within that particular radius. Even if they live on the outside of that, then if you have a retarget set up, they come to your page, some of your other ads and those types of things are going to be able to be served to them, right? And you're not having to build a custom audience and go through a lot of the same rigmarole that you have to go through when you're setting up an audience. Or when you're setting up an ad and going through fair housing and all of those types of things inside of Meta. So in the event that I'm talking about this stuff and it sounds a little bit foreign, or you're like, hey, Elliot, this sounds really cool, but I don't have time to create content. I don't have the skill set. Whatever those blockers may be for you, I want you guys to remember that you have access to the marketing library in Zoodealio, where there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of assets for you guys to be able to tap into. You can make them to your own branding. You can put in your own contact information. You can customize that particular ad however you want to. Now, also remember, every single asset inside here also has a suggested copy for you. So we've done everything that we could to take that guesswork, out for you, help you maximize your time and get some of these things going, because again, we want to make sure that we're posting in a consistent fashion, and then also, to scale up our message, running an advertisement so that we're getting people to come back in, get them to register, give them that item of value, so that you're collecting email addresses, right? That's that sticky lead magnet that I talk about all the time, right? That's the sticky lead magnet. Helps you get new contact information from people that you don't know. Value magnet is keeping the people that you know inside of your ecosystem by giving them something of value and keeping your value propositions in front of them, right? Such as like a mortgage calculator, right? Or home value monitoring, those types of things. So let's talk for a second around the different lead capture strategies with the landing pages, blast, customized landing pages, widgets, etc. Of course, inside of the Zoodealio ecosystem, we have everything from new agents to agents doing hundreds of deals per year. So what I want to talk real quick around this is you're going to get a landing page that is going to be customized with your particular logo, your headshot, your contact information, all of those things that everybody knows. When you're driving traffic back to that, right, you have the ability to take this widget that you see where it says enter your home address and build a customized landing page that's more branded to whatever you would like. So if you want to have something that's like a local monument that's in that hero section in the background, which is always my advice, right? But this, just finishing my piece on this real quick here, is you have the ability with this widget to build multiple, not just one, but multiple landing pages. So let me really get to the nuts and bolts of what I want to share here with you guys. So each value proposition serves the marketplace in its unique place, right? Such as a cash offer, such as a cash plus offer, such as a sell now, move later. Even though those are all served up in the offer dashboard, right? You can identify individual leads based with that compelling proposition. That's the whole point of it, right? So if you're looking to cash out your house, and here would be an ad example. Hey, were you recently relocated and not really sure when you have to move, but have a house to sell and need to move your home over 5,000 miles or 500 miles? Well, guess what? I got a program that we call the Sell Now, Move Later that allows you to cash out of your house now, put that equity in your pocket, and you could rent back your house on a month-to-month basis. Click the link below to find out more and see if your home qualifies, right? So that, of course, is just an off-the-cuff example, but these are little dynamic pieces, or individualized offerings that I want you guys to realize that you now pull this back to your particular landing page, right? You can create the customized marketing material, right? So inside the Zoodealio marketing library, you're going to have that marketing asset that can go back with that particular landing page, right? And so these are just again, when we're talking about growing that audience, you want to meet this sector with that unique value proposition, this section with the cash plus unique value proposition, and of course this section over here with the fix it and list it value proposition, right? So these are all of those lead magnet, right? People that you don't know, pulling them in, getting them to give up their contact information so that they can find out more about the solution that you're providing. And again, the goal of this with Blast is whether they're looking to transact today or in years from now, you're at the center of it, earning that transaction. So that's where I want to make sure that everybody is seeing all of these pieces that they have inside of this, okay? So now the last thing I want to share real quick on this is you have really the different mindsets of where consumers are at today, okay? So this is something that I've been working through with our team a ton recently, and you have a lot of the people that are cash offer looking to transact right now. So like for example, you have probate people, right? That let's say they inherited a house, they live in Florida, and the house that they inherited was in Arizona. Well, they don't know much about it, right? Especially if there's a mortgage on the house that they need to do something with. They don't have the money to cover the mortgage, et cetera. The person doesn't, that's in probate, there's not money to cover the mortgage, et cetera. Well, those are people that are going to be more than likely looking for, action, cash offers on the properties right now. Same thing with the divorce type circumstance. But then you're also going to have people that are, the kids are graduated and we're thinking about selling the house. We're not sure when, or hey, we just, we've kind of outgrown this house. We've been here for 10 years and, we would like to upgrade. We're not really sure when, right? Maybe I'm waiting on, a promotion, what have you, right? I'm sure you guys follow with me. So these are these two different boxes that I want to make sure that we're seeing very different, that we're driving traffic back to, okay? So you have the people that are your life cycle, right? Like, hey, did you just buy your house? Are you in that living cycle or are you in that selling cycle, okay? So that selling cycle is people that we're going to be driving them back to get a cash offer on your house now. Right? It's a much more definitive, let me see my instant options. The blast, where you can monitor your home's values, trends, insights, right? And you're those compelling monitoring aspects to that, is very much so a lower intent home seller, right? It's that cycle. And so this is where we want to be driving those people back to those styles of landing pages, okay? And then do know that eventually down the pike, we'll probably release a widget for the blast as well. That way you can really kind of just drive people back to that particular page, and it goes to the different dashboard, right? You have the blast dashboard, which is very much so a monitoring type thing, and then of course the cash offer dashboard, which is, I'll take this deal, is the call to action, right? For example, in the blast dashboard, and in the cash offer dashboard is I'll take this deal, and in the blast dashboard, it's much more like I'll explore this options, right? So that the reason why I'm being this long-winded on all of this is because I want you guys to be with me here in understanding the psyche of meeting that seller ultimately where they're at. That is where I wanted to make sure that we're all, kind of looking at it through that particular lens. And this is where before you're now going to still be able to have those partial leads. You're going to be able to now ultimately still have people that are going to bounce, do all those types of things in there, and we want to be able to pull them through that ecosystem. So I went through some of this stuff here. Okay, so let me, how are we doing on time? Okay, good. We're right on time. Let me see, I have a few questions that came in here. I know this was a lot of information, and I definitely bounced around with a couple of different, they're all the same concept, but I bounced around in talking about, that advertising, prospecting, and marketing. So again, do me a favor. As always, I want to make sure that this message resonates with you guys, and this is something that I don't need to go back and re-explain something to make sure you get the value out of it. So let's get to, without kind of further ado, let's get to the piece that I'm really excited. Follow with me here now that everybody has been on this. What you're looking at here is something that I mocked up with design team and et cetera on this. What I'm looking for is a group of, like I said, about 25 people, because this is going to be very very hands-on, to where you're going to have, you can be a database that you have, right? A list of leads, such as that divorce, the death, trigger type leads, old canceleds, old expireds, or even a list of likely sellers, right? Such as that, that Kayla produced in the 2024, who's selling in 2024, right? People that are 65 years and up, that are in 2,500 square foot homes, and that are two and up, and then 2 stories, right? Those are all people that are triggered as likely sellers, or they have an extreme amount of equity, they have very high interest rates, and they've owned their house for a few years, or 5 years or more, with a high interest rate, right? So these are all things that we can look at to kind of define who's likely to sell. And then, of course, those of you that are working with some of those likely sellers that are running algorithms through like some of the IP troll or social troll that they state that they have, and you're furbished with those types of lists, this would apply to all of that, right? So just to be clear, what we are looking to do on this is not only have that, but then this drives back to your dashboard, okay? So what we're creating here is the ability to monitor, what's your home's real value, right? Homes in 85249 values are changing rapidly in 85249. Scan here to access your home's value for free, right? Get a free monthly report. Now, the part on this that's really cool on this, as you guys are gonna see, is 2 things that we're doing here that are game changer that don't really exist. Number 1 is this is a 0 opt-in. Okay, so 0 opt-in. So that's the part on this that I'll have to work closely with you in the beta, that we got to get these addresses inside your account. Then the QR code is going to be created. So the moment that they scan that QR code is the moment that you're going to be notified that that homeowner or that blast participant is now entering in that report. And then as soon as they enter that, right, they're going to, when they scan it, they'll get the monthly report. Then also the other part that's really compelling on this is we are going to bring in the Google Street View of their house dynamic per the card. So cool stuff. And the fact, right, that of course the zip code will be dynamic to their particular area, and that's the whole point of the thing. And I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about this before, right? Riches are in the niches, and I believe in doubling down on a specific niche. So whether that's a list, your existing database, a farm, right? This is a pretty robust opportunity. And so again, I'll talk to each one, those of you that are interested in this. Again, and just for clarity, the only cost on this to you is going to be to run the postcards, right? You're gonna get all my time for free, all my expertise and monitoring and all this to make sure that we develop all of the pieces that we need to as we build this into really a part of Blast, right? I haven't really knuckled down on a name for anything yet, but it's ultimately going to become a part of Blast, to where now they come in, they register their house, they'll get a cash offer postcard that gets sent to their house where they can see their real value, right, scan in. And again, as you can see, this is a pretty compelling postcard to get them to scan and check it out. So with that said, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate your guys' time. This year is going to be an amazing year. We're bringing you so many cool things. As always, it's such an honor to work with you guys week after week, month after month, and of course, year after year. So as always, thank you so much. Appreciate the time, and we will see you on the next one.